Hey, so this week I'm going to show you how I turned 2014 movie TMNT Splinter into IDW Comics TMNT Splinter. So first I dip him, let him warm up in some boiled water. Then I cut off what I don't want, which would be part of his mustache and his beard, and he's got like a man bun I took off, and then part of his robe I'm going to take off to make it a little different, because he has a different kind of robe in the comics. Then I use my cordless Dremel and then a nail file to just sand it down smoother and flatter where I want it, and then I put a cut in his ear. I don't think he has it in the IDW comics, but in the 1990s movies he has the scar or the cut on his ear. So I did that for fun. Now it's a bamboo skewer, but it's more like a cocktail skewer, so it's flat on the sides instead of round, and I sand that down into a sword for him, and then I finish that, smooth it out with the nail file. Now I move on to Apoxie Sculpt. This is what I'm going to use to sculpt him, his face and his weapons. First I put on his top of his head, covering where I cut off, and then making it a rounder, bigger skull, or at least has more hair, so you can't really tell how big it is. Then I add where I sanded down his nose. I want to make it a more like squared off, more triangular kind of nose, and adding a bunch of fur detail by just wetting the tool a bit and then making little lines all over so it looks like fur. And I'm just kind of flattening down both sides, and I trimmed it off so the nose is still showing, and then it's connecting to his mustache tendrils. He's got like a catfish kind of mustache, but I'm making it more like the hair's going there, so it's connected to the rest of the hair. It looked really weird in that movie, like an alien bug rat. I don't want to talk about that movie. Now for his walking stick, I guess you call it, that he found in the woods, I've wrapped a bunch of the milliput around a toothpick and used that to hold it up, and then I scored it. Now, I made Casey last week, but when I was putting his head on, a bunch of his hair broke off, so I'm adding some more hair to him while I have the milliput out. Not milliput, Apoxie Sculpt. Yeah. Now, after 24 hours, it's dry, and I start sanding it down to get the shape I want. So I made like pretty deep grooves, but I'm knowing that I'm going to sand a lot away, so a little bit will still show. Then I had put eyebrows on him. One of them broke off, so I tried using a little piece of dried Apoxie Sculpt, but that didn't work. It just fell down in his robe and got stuck there with the glue. Then I cut off a little piece of the tip of a toothpick, and I glued that down, but it kept getting glued to my fingers rather than that. I finally got it on there, trying to straighten it out, make it look like an eyebrow. I'll paint it later, it'll be better, hopefully. Now I'm covering him all with a matte acrylic varnish, and that's going to work as my primer, because I'm going to be painting everything different color. He's got a red robe, he's got a kind of grayish brown fur. So I'm going for the fur now. I start with a burnt umber. I think I put like 5 drops of white and 2 drops of black to get this dark gray brown color for him, and I start covering with that. So the toothpick fell off, and then I use spackling to make a little eyebrow on that side. And now I want to even get inside the robe where you're not going to see it with that brown. I'm doing my base coat. I made 3 walking sticks because I didn't know which one was going to fit better in his hand. Now I have a pure black. I'm painting Casey's hair, and the color I made for his shirt, it was this leaf green, but I also mixed it with gray, and it came out too bluish when it was done, so I put a light coat of that green on to make him better. Now I have True Burgundy is the color I picked for his robe, so I'm just covering his whole robe in that, and continue. Then I did a second coat on the skin and on the robe. And now this is just cinnamon brown. I'm putting some on the walking sticks. I don't want his walking stick to be the same color as him, because that would be weird. It'd look like he's got venom fur coming out of his arms into spikes. That's not what I was going for. Then with the cinnamon brown, I mixed a bunch of white to get an off-white to do the wraps on his feet, and he has one hand with wraps already sculpted in, but they were never painted on the original toy, but I'm going to paint them. Now both the eyebrows ended up breaking off while I was doing all the painting and stuff, so part of it stayed on enough that I could paint it and it still looks like his eyebrows. And they're still sticking out more than they were before because it didn't all come off. Then I used that same color on all of his nails to make them pop out more. And this references reference photos showing in between like steps. But I also kept this guy underneath me so you can see what I'm going for the whole time. Now I have a raw sienna. I dry brushed on his sticks and also on all of his nails to make them rat nails, like he's been, you know, living in a sewer or digging some dirt or garbage or whatever rats do. And now I have that same pure black that I used on Casey's hair, and I do his nose, and I colored in his pupils because they had eye shine, but the eye shine was in weird spots and it made him look cross-eyed. Now that's fixed. The last thing I do, I have a suede lace and it's black, and I tie it around him, do a double knot, glue it down so that it hangs down, and then we're back to the beginning, and we actually get to see how he turned out this time because I left it like a little bit of a teaser. You see part of him, but now you see the whole thing. And now he's with the turtles. They all got mutated, and he gets the last slice of pizza because he's the dad, I guess. So next week we'll see. I think it's gonna be Turtle Van, but until then, remember, always keep your head up. Still time to enter for new merch with the word Sisyphus in the comments. Thanks a lot for watching. Peace.